Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the overview video of the Polar Engineering fuel pump hanger for the Nissan 300ZX Z32 two-seater model. I wanted to quickly make this video to go over, a good amount of questions that I get now that the guys are finally getting their setups delivered, trying to install these, kind of looking at them, making sure they understand exactly what's offered and how to go about wiring these things up. I hate speaking on camera, so and I know you guys hate listening to instructions, so I got this helper right here to hopefully make this as short as possible and cram as much information as I can into a short video, but at the same time keep it informative. So without any delay, let's go ahead. Basically, once you receive your hanger, it's going to look something like this. A lot of guys ask, why is it shaped like this? What is this machined portion on one side of the hanger? It's actually an excellent question. Once you get to installing your hanger, pop in an O-ring like this. I'm using an aftermarket O-ring. It's slightly thicker than the factory stuff. It is a E85 safe. I absolutely love this material. Again, it's a little thicker and it's also soft. Installs perfectly, and this is what we're going to be using. And this comes in a kit if you order a hanger from me. I got this little 3D printed part that I'm going to be using for demonstration. You will pop it in like this, and your installed hanger is going to look like that in a tank. Well, something like this. The reason I have this machined portion on the bottom, you can see it right here a little better, is once the hanger is installed, you have about an inch of a lateral movement that's now allowed. This is immensely helpful if you're installing AN fittings, 8AN, 6AN. You will absolutely appreciate that fact that you have this space that you can move the hanger to the side, have a little more access to the fittings, and just a little more space to work with. If you're installing the everything using the factory barb, it's probably not going to be as vital, but again, it was a possibility. I wanted to keep more material for cutting threads into, but at the same time I wanted to give you guys an option to kind of move everything to the side like this. So yes, so this is why that machine portion is there. Second most kind of popular question is obviously how to wire this thing. Once it is installed, it looks like this with the wiring harness sticking out. People ask me, how do you do this, Alex? The best way to figure out the wiring is to look at it from kind of from this side. And the left two wires, the bottom and the top, these two will be the supply for the main pump. And I will show you where the main pump is on the hanger in just a second. So again, this is the ground and power supply for the main pump. Kind of self-explanatory is that the middle two thick wires, these are 12 gauge copper wires. The middle ones are going to be for your staged or for your secondary pump. And the stuff on the right, these 18 gauge wires, the white and the yellow, that's going to be for your fuel sensors. So again, just to recap, because this is one of the most popular questions, is primary pump, middle is secondary pump, and on the right are the sensor wires. Even though the most kind of popular setup that everything gets ordered in is with two pumps, a dual pump setup, even if you are only running one pump, you have to ground the middle black wire. This wire right here, you have to ground it no matter what pump configuration you have. Just ground it. The reason being is that I'm using this middle wire to ground the sensors as well. So the fuel level sensor and the fuel warning light, that's it's using this ground point. So if you do not ground this middle wire, your sensors are not going to work. Please do that. Please ground it. Now, these the rest of the wiring are the connectors for your to make your dash, to make the sensors on your dash work, and to connect to the secondary side of the fuel tank. The right side of the tank gets this connector with 2 wires, the 3-wire connector right here that goes up front of the car over there. I have to kind of be completely honest with you, and I've mentioned this before, that these are not OEM connectors. I was very lucky to actually be able to find it. It, took me quite a few, months to be able to source these. If you are careful, if you are patient, and if you kind of, when you're inserting these connectors into the factory wiring harness, if you kind of wiggle them around, make sure you're not forcing anything, they will work, they will connect, and everything is going to be plug and play. You just need a little more patience. You need to consider the fact that these are not factory, that these are not OEM Nissan. Give them a little more time, give them a little more patience. They're going to work for you perfectly fine. In case, and this happened, guys are just not able to make these connectors make contact with the OEM connectors on the other side of the harness. If that happens, I color coded these wires exactly as they are on the factory wiring harness, so you can actually remove the connector. Done pretty easily on the bottom. Done pretty easily on the bottom here as well. You can remove this connector and just plug everything in directly into the factory wiring harness. Again, this one is also color coded, so there's no way for you guys to mess it up. But again, if you are patient, if you give it just a little more time, you might get lucky and it's going to pop right in. But if it's not, just give it a tiny amount of patience, and I promise you it's going to be rewarding. Let's see. So wiring, we have that covered. Again, I'm gonna go over this again. Left stuff, primary wire, primary pump, middle stuff is a secondary pump, or staged, whatever you want to call it. The stuff on the right is dedicated to sensors. Now, next thing I want to cover is, I get asked about the fitting options that are offered for these hangers. There's basically 3 options: is the 8AN, 6AN, and the factory, I think it's like an 8mm barb. So it's totally up to you what you want to do. I would probably go with 8AN for kind of the most power hungry setup. If you want to, if you see yourself setting up records down the line, that's probably a fitting for you. If you have a pretty heavily modified car, again, these numbers are, don't go by them, but I would probably stay, if I were under, let's say, 900 horsepower, I'd probably be on the 6AN. That's probably a good fitting for me. If you guys are under 650 or like 600, I would probably stay with factory. It's the best way to kind of keep things simple and use factory rubber lines on a tank. It's going to make the installation absolutely a breeze. But again, I mean, as we're going to be installing these guys on multiple cars, like a good amount of cars. I think this time around is going to be installed in about 50 cars. I want to hear back from you guys. What type of power are you making? What type of fitting did you have? Did you have enough fuel? My guess is you're gonna have plenty of fuel, and with the options that I've sent out, I talked to probably most of you. If not, I communicated with you over email. We discussed your goals, what you want to do. So I made suggestions as best as I could. So hopefully everything, the setups you received are going to be sufficient. Now, I wanted to go over the pumps that that I can have installed in these hangers, and I'm actually pretty lucky that I have a couple of customers' pumps that were, custom orders. I had to have the clamps machined and water jetted specifically for these guys, and I have but 2 more hangers to send out tomorrow. I have this AM pump. It's slightly smaller than what we used to seeing from Walbro. I believe this one is around 38mm diameter. I have clamps for these, and I have connectors for these. So, if you want to run AM stuff, just let me know the model number of your pump, and I'll be happy to have that working for you. If you have the most popular pump that I installed and sold a hanger for is the Walbro 525 Hellcat pump. They are, not just the Z guys are running them. Pretty much most of the aftermarket communities running these pumps now. They are E85 compatible, flow a ton of fuel. They draw a pretty decent amount of current, but it's nothing out of the nothing crazy. The harness that I have installed is going to perfectly work with it. One thing I wanted to mention though is when you are ordering the Hellcat pump, these pumps come in two different part numbers. They come with the part number that ends with a 285 and the 295. You want the 285 pump part number because that one has a check valve installed in the pump, and that way you will not have any kind of pressure going back into your secondary pump when your primary one is operating. So again, if you're ordering Hellcat pump, make sure it ends with a 285. If you're ordering pumps through me, I'm gonna have that taken care of for you. You're gonna have your hanger arrive to your house. It's gonna be ready to go. Let's see. Another thing that I need to address is the way that the pumps sit in the hanger. When you have them installed, the one on the right now is the primary pump. We're looking at it this way. The one on the right is primary again. The inlet is going to be pointing downwards, perfectly downwards. On the secondary pump, the inlet is going to be pointing at about 45 degrees towards the center line. That is done to make sure that the outlet port on the pump clears this sensor housing. So make sure you tilt this pump a little bit to the side. And for the primary pump, I am offering these strainers that have a straight connection on them. I'm not sure you can see it. But for the secondary pump, I got these strainers that are also rotated a little bit. So once you install it on the hanger, everything is going to line up perfectly perpendicular to the, parallel to the bottom of the fuel tank. And you're going to be picking up fuel perfectly fine. So again, guys, the secondary pump needs to be tilted a little bit to the center line, about 45 degrees, give or take. I usually recommend to kind of have the whole hanger, don't tighten everything down, have most of the bolts loose, just barely dragging, assemble everything, and then tighten all the bolts. That's probably the best way to go about doing that. Let's see. Once you this is usually how the hanger arrives to your house if you don't order the pumps from me. What you'll have to do is insert your own pumps, or whatever else, and install the hoses on the pump outlets. I like to use these Autocare clamps. These guys right here, they're stainless steel. They are kind of like a set and forget type of deal. I don't see how this thing would come loose under any condition, and this is going to prevent all the hoses popping off, and it's going to be reliable for a long period of time. These clamps do require a special type of installation tool. I got this one on Amazon for about 30 bucks. It's kind of like the better one. You can find something that's for about $15. It's going to still work just fine. Otherwise, you can just use, really any clamp. You don't have to use these. I provide them, but you don't have to use them. You can just use any kind of like a worm type of clamp. Constant tension clamp is fine. Nissan, those clamps that everybody likes from the 370Z, that's probably also going to work. I haven't tested them, but they'll probably work. What else is there to cover? Strainers I kind of talked about. Again, the longer strainer that I sent, that's for the stage pump for the secondary. Shorter strainer is going to be the one for the primary pump. So keep that in mind. Again, if something is not fitting, watch this video again, because I've assembled, fully assembled about over 30 of these, sent them out, and everything fit. So guys, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and I will see what's going on and we'll figure it out together. Another pump option that I offer is the Walbro brushless. Right here, that's the, I mean, if you go with that option, one pump is perfectly fine. It's a little on the expensive side, still affordable. But you only need one, you don't need two. It comes with a controller as well. If you order a hanger with that option, I also provide this cool strainer with a matching hole for the pump, and I also send you an adapter to make the strainer fit. It makes the strainer sit parallel to the bottom of the tank and makes the fuel pickup a breeze. The pump comes with the 4-wire connector, and we're able to use the same bulkhead fitting to to make all of the connections work. And I also color code the harness if you go ahead with that option for you. Let's see, what else do I want to cover? Another thing I wanted to mention is this is what your hat looks like when I start the assembly. Your siphon is mounted in this hole. This will be a barb, probably better view right here. This will be a barb for your primary pump. This right here will be a barb for your secondary pump, or the staged one, whatever you want to call that. This is a barb for your fuel return. Now, a couple of guys actually, they ordered these hangers as a 2-pump configuration. So they came, they would deliver to customers with 2 barbs installed in the hanger. But if you want to only run 1 pump, which for most guys is sufficient, what you can do is probably the best idea is to remove this. Let's see, yeah, remove this side of the hanger right here. The 2 bolts right here, 2 bolts on the bottom. This thing pops off, slides off. You then unscrew this barb. I can provide you with a 6AN plug, and you screw it into this vacant hole and seal the hanger. So you want to make sure it's tight, because if you don't install this plug, the fuel is going to be, you're not going to build any fuel pressure. So yes, so you will need the plug. You will need to plug it up. And once you install your single pump, connect it to this barb with a hose, and you'll be set to go. Let's see, what else is there to cover. This is pretty much all I want to say at this moment. And also another thing that people ask me about is this these cool duckbill valves. These are E85 safe. I found a really good distributor for these. I'm also happy that I'm able to offer these in black color, which looks fantastic compared to whatever else is on the market right now. So that's there to kind of make sure that you're not aerating the fuel in a tank too much as you're returning it. So it's a cool little feature. I mean, I don't see why not. I think it's useful, and makes the assembly complete. If you have any kind of questions about anything that I didn't cover or whatever else, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My website also has a phone number. I try to pick it up as much as I can, but usually I'm kind of swamped with stuff. So if you leave me a voicemail, I'll call you back as soon as I can. Sometimes I answer, obviously, but that's kind of a rare occurrence. Also, my website has the form for you to set up to submit a message. I usually respond to them with about 30 minutes at most. So if you guys, again, have any questions, or if you want to order one of these, let me know. I am available, 7 days a week. Literally, I'm pretty busy currently. I have this project that the first batch I just finished up sending out. I'm taking orders on the next batch right now, and I have the 2+2 hangers in production. So things are really busy. We're also coming out with the drive-by-wire product that I'm still got to finalize a few internals and get that into testing, and that's going to be, I think, a winner. I think it's going to be one of the coolest products this year for the Z32. I say one of the coolest because there's a few other products that I want to release by the summer, which are going to be absolutely fantastic, I think. And you guys are going to be, I'm excited about them, and I think you guys are going to be excited about them as well. So yes. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. On this pump, the way to determine which connector is for the main pump is the shorter one. This one has a 3-inch wires connected to it. This is the shorter one is the primary pump. The longer one is the secondary stage. So again, primary and secondary stage. So that's you know, that's kind of like how to determine how to hook up your pumps. I usually route everything to one side right here, to the side of the main pump, and then I point all the connectors upwards. The reason this one is a little longer for the secondary pump is that because we're losing a little length by, you know, going to the right. And another cool feature here is with the kind of like a skeleton type of construction, there's plenty of clearance for the ground wire of the pump to not hit the hanger body. So make sure your wires are not touching the hanger. There's plenty of space, as you can see. You should have absolutely no contact with anything if everything is installed correctly. If you have any kind of trouble, again, reach out to me. It's a better idea to just ask. We're gonna go through it together and we'll have it figured out. Again, Instagram or Facebook Messenger is probably the best way to get in touch with me. The website Messenger works as well. If you have to give me a call, I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. For those of you who purchased these, I really appreciate you guys' support. You were champions waiting for these setups to come in, but I just wanted to make sure that they're absolutely perfect. By the time they arrive at your door, I want to make sure you get the most value out of your money. And I will, you know, I'll try to deliver whenever I can. If you have any, you know, questions about these, let me know. And there's a lot more stuff coming. So watch out for these videos. Follow me on Facebook or on Instagram. Not just for following, I really don't care about that. I just want to make sure you get all of the latest news about what I'm working on, and if there's any kind of updates with your order, you know firsthand. Again, thank you so much, and if there's anything I missed, let me know in the comments. Thank you.